What's going on, fight fans around the world? Tonight, we get to see the second edition of the PFL's regular season playoff format that debuts on ESPN, ESPN Plus, ESPN2, TSN if you're in Canada, all over the world. If you're all over the world, and honestly, I've had a hard time finding concrete info on how the system of the scoring works for the PFL, but I think I've gotten it down to a science. And let's just get to understanding the rules and the systems of regulation for this regular season tournament bracket style competition. Now, the UFC, they do one thing wrong. I think a lot of us can agree on it. It's the fact that this one dude has beat 5 of the best guys in the world. This other dude has beaten a bum but talks a lot. And the guy that talks a lot is going to get the title shot because he's created a story. In the PFL, there is going to be none of that. It's about your performances inside the octagon or inside their 10-sided ring that they're going to be displaying. You guys will see what I'm talking about then. Commentated by Randy Couture and a bunch of other people. Like almost every other sport with groups in a playoff bracket, a win worth 3 points. A draw, 1 point each. A loss, a big fat donut. However, in fighting, they're not like other sports, but there are many different ways to win a fight. This will contribute to the standings even more so than goals for and goals against like we see in sports like soccer, the World Cup. Finishes really aren't discriminated. A submission, KO, DQ, etc. It all depends not on the finishes, but on the time of the stop. First round, 3 points. Second round, 2 points. Third round, 1 point. Therefore, in a regular season that sees every fighter fight twice, the max points a fighter can accumulate in a season is 12. 2 wins in the first round. So that's 6 points for 2 wins and then 6 points for 2 first-round finishes. Now, what about missing weight? Now, that's an issue we see in the UFC a lot of the time. Well, simply, you miss weight, you lose. You have no chance of getting any points for the wins. But to my knowledge, the opponent who is fighting a guy that misses weight can choose if he'd like to fight in order to secure a finish point bonus. That's up to you. It's up to the fighter who's in the position of seeing a guy that misses weight. Now, there's usually around 13 fighters in each division, from featherweight to heavyweight, and there's also a women's featherweight. Now, this means that a win really sets you up in the playoffs. It won't give you a good seeding if you just get one win, but one win will go a long way to seeing you make the playoffs of the PFL and continue on that race for the $1 million grand prize. Now, that really does it on the rule end. A card is structured like normal, like every MMA card, but every fight on it, whether the prelims or the main event, are equally valuable in the ranking systems. They do not discriminate. Outside of the $1 million prize, each fighter is signed to a season with a fight and win bonus like a regular fight contract, with the inclusion of the end of the line grand prize. If you are to win the playoff for your division, you get $1 million. Now, not a lot of MMA organizations are offering that, so this is a benefit to fighters who think that they're the best fighters in the world. So obviously, the main event slot will make more on the end of win and fight bonuses, but the season-wise means little more than money generation for the PFL itself. With 6 weight classes, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, light heavyweight, and women's featherweight, starring 2-time Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison, who won last year and is the PFL star. With all these weight classes, there will be tons to follow and many fights to be had. I'm interested in watching the tourney unfold and witnessing some of these fighters with quick bounce-back fights in a season style where I think they only have 6 weeks to jump back. And it's an interesting twist that the PFL hopes to market on. It's a new format that's not really seen unless you watched PFL season last year. And the playoffs are pretty weird. In each weight class, the roster size ranges from 8 to 13. We'll go over the rosters in separate videos along the season. And then we'll also do results videos season long. Subscribe so you don't want to miss that. But nonetheless, the rosters will be cut to 8 come playoff time based on points. The brackets will be set up like you'd think they would be. 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5 in each division. Playoffs begin in October, and then the championship takes off on New Year's Eve. Now, the playoffs. I alluded to the fact that the playoffs are weird, and I really don't like the format of the playoffs. But I'll lay it out for you here, and you can format your own opinion on it. So the quarterfinals and the semifinals are held on the same night. This being only backed by last year's format. Now, what I mean by that is that I watched last year's one, and that's how they did it. I don't know if they've changed this, but the quarterfinal was 2 5-minute rounds, and then the semifinals was 3 in the same night, 3 5-minute rounds. The finals are held on New Year's Eve, completely separate. Now, the issues with this, in 2 rounds, it means more draws than there should be in the most important fights probably of each division in that quarterfinal. And having 2 fights in one night led to a couple sluggish performances in what was supposed to be the big fights, as I said, for the promotion. We'll watch and see as it goes this year, but I might have more to say on the subject later on when we watch the playoffs. That really wraps up the rules of the PFL. Other than that, you're fighting to win the fight. If you're interested in watching the PFL and you don't know how you can, a link will be in the description with that information, and subscribe to the channel so we can enjoy the PFL season all season long together. But that does it for the PFL rules. Again, roster videos will be coming very, very soon. I'm a little bit behind, so I don't know if I'll get out all of them before the first PFL event tonight. But nonetheless, make sure you subscribe and comment all the things you're wondering about the PFL season and what you expect from it, and what maybe I left out that another person might want to know that'll benefit us all on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, remember to leave a like on the video and a comment. That means the world. But that'll do it for today. Thank you, and peace out.